right, we ready? Let's get it.
Right here.
We're gonna make it happen. Let's go.
Welcome to this unique graduation as we celebrate the class of 2020. Their senior year has not gone as expected, but they have faced this unique time with grace and patience. Seniors, we are already proud of you, but your great attitude has earned the respect of your families, teachers, and everyone connected with Greenfield School. Instead of thinking of the would-haves and should-haves, let's rejoice over your many accomplishments while sending you off to exciting new adventures. The class of 2020 is a mixture of Greenfield lifers and students who enrolled later in their academic careers. All the members have made significant contributions to the class, the school, and their communities. 5 of these seniors have been at Greenfield since preschool. Zeke and Eli enrolled as 2-year-olds and are following in their older sister's footsteps by graduating from Greenfield and attending NC State. Although they are twins, each has made a distinct mark on their class and the school. In addition to playing basketball, baseball, and soccer, Eli's great sports photography has captured many great athletic moments. In his senior presentation, his great photo of 2 mallard ducks reflected his twinness and his love of nature. Zeke is a sportsman who also loves the outdoors. While at Greenfield, he played baseball and soccer and volunteered as a camp counselor at the Greenfield Soccer Camp. Over the years, his teachers and coaches have come to rely on his great work ethic. Nero might have been fiddling while Rome burned, but when Jade plays her violin, everyone is in awe. At 3, she came to Greenfield and has been a leader in her class ever since. Her tenacity on the tennis court wins matches, and her talents on strings, the piano, and singing wins hearts. Jerry has enrolled in the class of 2020 at age 3. Over the years, he has consistently excelled academically and has participated in many clubs. He is always a crowd favorite when called to the gym floor at awards assembly to accept his habitual spot on the All A's honor roll. We don't know if Parker was already swimming when he came to Greenfield at 4, but we do know that we want him around to save us if we're drowning. He has spent many summers as a camper and then counselor on the water at Camp Seagull. His dry sense of humor has brightened many classes. In the 4th grade, Byron joined the class. Since that time, he has taken on hard work and responsibility in many areas. An Eagle Scout, he has volunteered over 100 hours a year for several years while maintaining dual enrollment with the North Carolina School of Science and Math. Byron, when do you sleep? Hayden joined the class as a 6th grader. He was one of the founding members of the Greenfield shooting team, as well as playing soccer and basketball. While others were spending their summers at play, he was at summer programs at Clemson and NC State. We know he will do well in engineering. Chelini spent her first year at Greenfield in the 6th grade. Her winning smile and quiet kindness have endeared her to her teachers and classmates. Many don't know that she is involved in a Greenville Chinese music ensemble playing the zither. The 6th grade also brought Caroline. She has been an outstanding academic and athletic leader. Although she has been sidelined with injuries, her schoolwork never suffered, and she also made time to participate in almost every activity on campus. Rounding out the new students in the 6th grade was Kaylin. She is a ray of sunshine in class, sports, and her many activities in school and the community. It is very rare for a class to elect the same girl to the homecoming court for 3 years, and for the upper school also to select her as homecoming queen. This honor reflects the respect and admiration she inspires. What's the weather going to be today? No need to check, Tommy will know. He enrolled at Greenfield in the 7th grade. He is a top marksman and has been on the shooting teams at Greenfield, Rose Hill, and the Wilson 4-H. He will eventually explain weather maps on TV or be a storm chaser. Watch out, Jim Cantori. Tommy's gunning for your job. Trey bounced into the 7th grade and hasn't stopped since. He's played basketball at Greenfield, an elite traveling team, and will continue to hoop at Lynchburg College. When not on the hardwood, he volunteers for various local charities and helped at the school basketball camp. As the class entered the upper school, Jai and Brittany arrived to join them. Jai's talents for and dedication to basketball are evident. He has won numerous school and conference awards for his play and has also been involved with the AAU program. We'll be watching as he plays at the University of Richmond next year. Brittany has spent her time at Greenfield busy with studies, sports, and clubs. She's also an SGA representative. But how many people know that her love for animals led her to be a caregiver for 2 disabled dogs after school? What a wonderful, selfless ministry that is. 4 young men were the last members of the class of 2020, enrolling in the 11th grade. Colin is a basketball player extraordinaire. He is scrappy on the court, and his passion has been rewarded by conference awards and recognition, including Defensive Player of the Year. He has used his love of the game to referee Upward Bound games. In his hometown of Greenville, he has helped with food drives and worked with hurricane relief. He's also a singer and a drummer. In addition to being a future Tar Heel basketball player, Creighton has made many contributions to the class. He is an academic leader and has found time to join many clubs and to volunteer at a retirement home and a shop supporting victims of domestic violence. Somehow, he also carved out time to work at basketball camps and a lawn and home care business. That's real hustle. Although basketball is Jordan's first love, he has found the time for many other school and community activities. He joined almost every club available at Greenfield, worked part-time for the Wilson Recreation Department, volunteered as youth football coach, and worked with Relay for Life, Keep America Beautiful, and the Read In program. Nick may have been the last to enter the class, but certainly not the least. In his 2 years at Greenfield, he has been involved in all aspects of the school community. He was elected president of the SGA and was a great leader by example, participating in numerous volunteer opportunities. On top of that, he was a recipient of the Christopher Gauss Memorial Scholarship, given to an outstanding student who plays 3 sports. Oh, and did you know he is a talented musician and singer? This is such a wonderful group with whom to celebrate their achievements and the 50th anniversary of the school. To you, the class of 2020, your talents are varied. You have studied, worked, played, and shared at Greenfield School. You have all been so fortunate to have such a strong core of friends here. Find a new core as you continue being outstanding students and citizens on the next leg of your journey through life. It has been my privilege to share your senior year with you. I anticipate hearing great things about you in the future. Please come visit your Greenfield family when you are home for a break. Wherever you go and whatever you do, know that you have made a big impact on all of us at Greenfield, and we are so proud of you. Nick Sessoms, a representative of the class of 2020 and the president of the Student Government Association, will now make a presentation on behalf of the senior class.
On behalf of the senior class of 2020, I would love to present our senior class gift. We have given it some thought and realized that we wanted something new for the soccer field. We have decided to get new benches for our night soccer players. Thank you to all the teachers and staff for all the hard work that you have done. It's been an honor serving you all as the SGA president for this school year of 2019 through 2020. I hope you all stay safe and healthy during this pandemic. Thank you.
The Salutatorian Award is presented each year to the senior who has the second highest academic average. The 2020 Salutatorian Award is presented to Caroline Stone.
I am so honored to have the opportunity to speak before the parents, family members, teachers, and my classmates who choose to watch this video. Having been a student at Greenfield since 6th grade, it has certainly played a tremendous role in my life and the person I am today. I am so grateful to be a part of Greenfield's class of 2020. Thanks to some unprecedented events in the past couple months, it has been a wild end of the year. I never imagined Zoom would become my classroom or that I could attend class from my bed, but here we are. Our graduation has certainly made history at Greenfield, and while it is unfortunate that we cannot be gathered together for this special day, it is important that we are all staying safe and remembering to be grateful that we are healthy. Our class has had the opportunity to get to know each other very well throughout the years, maybe even too well. I think almost everyone in the class has had to push me somewhere on campus in my wheelchair. I'm also confident that almost everyone has seen PJ break something. We have watched each other grow and change, and I think that this has helped us find out who we are as individuals. I will never forget the memories that we have made together, and just because our year is not ending the way most of us imagine, I'm confident that we are all ready to embrace the next chapter of our lives with open arms. From our bonding trips to Festival Latino, one retreats, and back-to-school bowling nights, there are many memories we have created that I couldn't imagine sharing with any other group of people. We have inspired each other to be better, and that has prepared us to succeed for years to come. Our class might be small, but it is full of big personalities, and there never seems to be a dull moment. We have shown resiliency and determination when faced with challenges and situations like the one we are facing now. Now I would like to share a quote that I feel is particularly relevant on a special day like today, looking back on our journey through high school. At times, our own light goes out and is rekindled by a spark from another person. Each of us has cause to think with great gratitude of those who have lighted the flame within us. This quote is from Albert Schweitzer, who is a theologian, writer, and humanitarian. During difficult times, it is easy to let our light go out, but it is important to remain positive and focus on what is within our control. Our class has missed out on some of the most fun times of senior year. Instead of dwelling on what we missed out on, I think now is the time we should all appreciate what we have accomplished. The amazing and dedicated staff at Greenfield has done so much to make our senior year and overall Greenfield experience amazing. Ms. Peters, Mr. Reynolds, Ms. Bradley, and many other faculty members have worked extremely hard to ensure we have a graduation ceremony in this far from ideal situation. We must be grateful for those who have lit our flame. Our class has been taught by so many incredible teachers that want nothing more than to help us succeed. They have all gone out of their way during the past few months to ensure we are still getting the best education virtually, and I am so grateful for that. I have been inspired by all of my teachers and classmates at Greenfield. I would like to thank Ms. Bradley in particular for inspiring me to pursue psychology. She helped me develop a love and passion for the subject in her AP Psychology class. I think it is safe to say that none of us would be here today without her support and the support of the Greenfield family. Life and change can be very overwhelming, but when you have people like Miss Bradley in your corner, nothing feels impossible. Due to a couple of knee surgeries and long recovery periods, this is not the first time I've missed out on some things. I have watched many of my classmates and teammates persevere through injuries in less than ideal circumstances as well. During these extreme times of adversity that we and the entire world are facing, it is important to remember that there is always a light at the end of the tunnel and to make the most out of what we have. I think we can all think back on this time out of school and appreciate the extra time we have had with our families. While it is certainly difficult, it is important to look on the bright side of things and remember that soon enough things will return back to normal and that children will love going to school, parents will look forward to working, and going to a restaurant or sporting event will be more special than ever. We will all be going off to college with a new appreciation for the fact that attending school is a privilege. I would like to thank the Greenfield faculty, my classmates, and all of the parents and family members who have made my time at Greenfield so wonderful. Thank you all for never letting my light go out. I will cherish the time I spent with you all. To my classmates, I am looking forward to seeing what you all accomplish. We have been given the tools to succeed, and there's no doubt in my mind that we will all use them. I wish the best of luck to everyone. Thank you.
The Valedictorian Award is presented each year to the senior who has the highest academic average. The 2020 Valedictorian Award is presented to Jerry Zimble.
Before I begin, I would just like to say thank you to everyone for your time. Thank you to every faculty member, every teacher, everyone at Greenfield who has led us to this moment. Thank you. To Miss Bradley in particular, everyone is grateful for you always being available and comfortable around us. All the work you did and snacks you offered are greatly appreciated. Thank you to every parent and friend who cares about this occasion for some reason or another, even despite the ongoing social distancing. Love you all. So do you remember your first day of senior year? It was the beginning of high school's end, and it was also the end of the beginning of our lives. Despite that, I honestly don't remember that day at all. But I know it was full of mixed emotions. It wasn't just another first day of school. It was the first of many last experiences, and even though we all knew that, I don't think it felt real yet. I think those mixed emotions stayed and evolved throughout the year. It started as mostly excitement. At the start of every day, our class would all come flocking into school at 7:59. In October, we all went to the state fair. It was fun to make new memories outside of school. Everyone's personalities shined. Little did we know this would be our last class trip we went on for senior year together. Later in the month, there was the Halloween parade. It was the first time in years that we all got to dress up as characters for it. It felt like a true conclusion to all of the past Halloween parades we had experienced. And then, as always, the whole school sang Witch's Brew. Our class sang Witch's Brew together for the last time. Even back then, it felt like college was just around the corner. It was exciting, yet it was also sad. And now it is a bittersweet in-between. Who could have known that our last real class together would be on Friday the 13th over 2 months ago now? We missed out on many traditions. There was no senior trip. There was no second senior breakfast, no spring sports. I heard that teachers had to, the first time actually, accept that they would not see us again before the school year ended. But despite everything, graduation is still here now. Throughout the year, we made memories together. We all did, and they'll stay with us. We may be leaving Greenfield physically, but it will always be a part of who we are, and will always be a family. We all have the tools to be successful, both in the short term and long term. Whatever goal you set your mind to, you can accomplish. If you look for it, you will find it. We reasonably can go anywhere and do anything. We grew up just as social media started to become super integrated into our lives. We've seen both sides. It's like we're a bridge between the generation before us and after us. Our class is part of a generation that can impact the world if we set our mind to it. We know what we're doing at a time when it matters more than ever. Find what you stand for. Find where you feel you can make the biggest difference. Find yourself. If you look for it, you will find it. I feel like each year we psychologically all learn so much more. Epiphanies come and go. I've learned that it's good to have a strong support system, that it's good to befriend a few people who you see highly. It's important to be confident, but also to have the space in your heart to empathize with others and understand them. It's important to understand that you don't know everything. Every single person here has their own thoughts and perceptions about every minute detail in life. That can lead to a difference of opinion. It can lead to arguments. But it can help to take a step back and see things from other people's perspectives. It can help to question if you are at fault. Typically, people involved in those arguments are. No matter what, you're worth it. There are people in your corner, whether you always remember that or not. And if you do remember it, maybe help someone remember that they too have people supporting them. Be there for them. Even in your darkest times, appreciate everything you have going for you. Find the good in your life. If you look for it, you will find it. Even though this is not a perfect senior year, there are perfections in the imperfections. Flaws make things real. We'll forever be the class of 2020. We did it. And I'm proud of us for all of our accomplishments, big and small. We did it. Thank you.
Glenn Griffin was the last child born to Ken and Ethel Griffin, the closest thing to a celebrity couple that existed in the little mountain town of Old Fort, North Carolina. Ken was known to everyone in the county as Coach, after a lifetime helming basketball, baseball, football, and tennis teams, a legacy that earned him a spot as a charter member of the McDowell High School Athletic Hall of Fame. Ethel, as a registered nurse at the Old Fort Medical Clinic, put a needle into the backside of every resident who lived in the town for the better part of 40 years. With a local coaching legend for a father, athletics became a focal point for Glenn and his siblings, especially for the three sons. Both of Glenn's brothers played college baseball and basketball, while Glenn's playing career shorted out upon high school graduation. Instead, he went on to study English at Wake Forest University, earning his BA and teaching certificate there. While his sister and brothers pursued banking or business careers, Glenn followed in his dad's steps and became a high school teacher and coach. Fresh out of college in 1987, he took a position at Bedingfield High School, where he spent the next 29 years teaching English and coaching soccer, football, and tennis. Glenn is devoted to his family. In 1997, his son Nick, a constant source of pride for his old man, was born. Nick is now a senior majoring in mechanical engineering at NC State. In 2013, Glenn married his best friend, Angela McIntosh, and they moved into a house just a short walk from Greenfield's campus. Glenn joined the Greenfield staff 4 years ago. Even with the life of good fortune he has already experienced, he knows just how lucky he is to be a part of this educational and professional family.
Welcome, Greenfield family. I'm deeply honored, more than a little bit terrified, and completely dumbfounded to find myself doing this today. When the seniors asked me to speak at graduation, I knew I had to work through my fear of speaking to large audiences and say yes to this special group of students. But I still don't quite know why they asked me. See, I've spent a lot of time with these kids since I came to Greenfield. I've taught every one of them at least once. All but one have suffered through at least 2 years with me. Trey, the one who made the official request, has had me for six classes. They have to know that if I had any wisdom for them, or even something interesting to pass on to them, it would have at least accidentally come out by now. My wife, whose resume for sainthood has been burnished by her patience through having to shelter in place with me for the past few months, gave up on wise counsel from me fairly early on. Yet, here I am, wearing a borrowed dress, talking into a camera, looking like if my hair were to fall out a window, a handsome prince would climb it, wearing pants for the first time in a month, struggling to find something, anything that I can say to you that you can take with you on your life's journey. That's a lot to ask of somebody who learned most of what he knows about life from watching Saturday morning television. I used to wait all week long for Saturdays because it was the only day of the week I could get my cartoon fix. Imagine, if you can, a 9-year-old Mr. Griffin. Yeah, I made everybody call me Mr. Griffin even then. I was a bit of a pretentious child. But imagine 9-year-old Mr. Griffin sitting in front of his mom and dad's console TV, necktie neatly knotted at my throat, coffee steaming in a cup down by my knee, legal pad in hand for taking notes on thematic unity, character development, clever uses of irony, watching Bugs Bunny, Super Friends, Hong Kong Phooey, Scooby-Doo. And I loved me some Scooby-Doo. I learned a lot from that show. I used to love it whenever they get chased by the monsters. They would take off running until they found a little tiny signpost or a tree, and then they'd hide behind it. Inevitably, Shaggy's head would pop out from one side of the tree, then Scooby's would pop out from the other side of the tree. Sometimes the whole Scooby gang found a hiding place behind it at the same time. No matter how many people were trying to hide, that thin little barrier offered enough cover for everyone. Now, other than the questionable physics involved, that was pretty amazing. Think about it. Never once did any of them push any of the other characters out into plain view. They had to know they were risking exposure by letting someone else squeeze behind that scant shield, but they just made room. That little post could hide the whole Scooby gang, Meadowlark Lemon and Curly Neal, and still have time for the monster to, for some reason, hide there beside them. It made me wonder if I have the courage that the gang showed every week. Courage to not exclude others for the things that I have seen can protect me. In our world, our worth is too often decided by whom we exclude. What's the fun of a nice car if it doesn't separate me from that guy driving that AMC Pacer? Why pay for those Jordans if it doesn't show the world that I'm not the kind of guy who might wear Skechers? How can everybody see exactly how popular I am if they don't see me laughing with my friends at the guy sitting by himself at the lunch table? The Scooby Gang understood the importance of including all those people. It's a message our kids at Greenfield have learned somewhere for themselves. You see, I've spent a lot of time around teenagers in my life, and they can be masters of exclusion. Teen cliques are often so homogenous that they look like they could have been formed by some online social app, something called Friender or Clickbait. You can almost see some queen bee scrolling through looking for her minions. Hobbies: studying, reading, hanging with the fam, swipe left. Hobbies: listening to the Beeb, Facebooking, chasing chicks, and ooh, is that a mullet? Hard pass. Oh, here's one. Hobbies: making sarcastic remarks under my breath to adults, shopping, making boys cry, swipe right. You kids don't do that very much. You seem to understand that if the pole you hide behind can protect you, it can protect someone else as well. I've watched as you invited others into the safety of your group, and it's always impressed me as one of the kinder things one person can do for another. I hope it's something you'll continue. There'll always be people who need to be included. Maybe they're too scared to ask, or maybe they don't even recognize they need it. There'll be a lot more of them after the fallout from the pandemic is realized. Sometimes you can make a difference in someone's life simply by letting them hide behind the same signpost. On Scooby-Doo show, the monster chasing them would have happily picked off the one that the others pushed out in the open in order to make it safer or easier for themselves. And you know what? It'd have gotten away with it too, if it wouldn't have been for those darn kids. There was another chase I remember, though, that didn't offer Shaggy or Scooby any signpost for hiding. Something distracted the bad guy, fortunately, and he took off another direction. Scooby, or Shaggy, skidded to a stop just in time. Scooby fell into the hole. What's down there, Scoob? Me! Now, Shaggy can be forgiven for his reaction. His first thoughts, understandably, went to investigation of what might be a clue. But was that really the most important thing about that hole? Don't get me wrong, the hole was a clue. By examining it, the gang was able to figure out exactly what was going on and solve the case. My 9-year-old self, though, cared more about poor Scooby down in that hole. Truth is, so does my 55-year-old self. You know we've all done it. We find someone in a hole, figurative or real, and we react. But I didn't dig that hole. If he had been watching where he was going, he wouldn't have fallen in that hole. If we get him out of that hole, what's to keep the next guy from jumping in that hole just to make me have to get him out? Why is there a hole there in the first place? I didn't fall in a hole. He should have been more like me and not fallen in a hole. Now, all these reactions may be valid, but we should never lose sight of what's important about that hole, the person who's in it. If we forget about the people in the hole, we forget why we have a problem with the hole in the first place. Now, as it turns out, the bad guy had dug the hole for nefarious purposes, and, you know, could have gotten away with it too if it hadn't been for those darn kids. I think, though, what really appealed to me about the Scooby-Doo show was that these were just children. Imagine how great that would be. You, your friends, and your dog traveling the country, solving mysteries in a cool van. Week after week, they figured out things that all the adults were too scared or too blinded by their own biases to see. What could be any cooler than that? I know what you're thinking. We can't trust kids to solve our problems. Heck, we can't even trust kids to carry on the traditions that we have used for the foundation for our entire lives. These graduating kids have heard this their entire lives. Come on, admit it. We've all laughed at them. You call that music? That's just noise. If I had worn a skirt that short, my mama would have locked me in the basement. They think they all should get trophies just for participating. Irony somehow lost on us as we ridicule them. Bob Dylan, once lambasted by the adult world, recently won a Nobel Prize for Literature. The shorts I wore as a JV basketball player were so short they could have been worn beneath the skirts we criticize and no one would have ever seen them. Cleaning out my mom's house a few years back, I found countless certificates and trophies that I received just for taking part in various activities. We seem to have conveniently forgotten that they are now who we were then. So maybe that's what I've got to say to this group of seniors and their generation. Don't let my generation ignore you just because you're young. Fight for what you know is right, regardless of what tradition or custom tries to dictate. Use what we have taught you, sure, but don't be held back by our fears and biases. Our 20th century solutions may not work in your 21st century world. We'll try to convince you that you aren't ready for the new world that you face, but personally, I believe that you can be so much better than we ever were. Don't misunderstand me. We did the best we could do. But in doing the best that we could do, we somehow came to believe that it was the best that could be done. We fought change and declared an assault on our entire way of life. We've jealously defended ourselves against enemies, both real and imagined, and tried to convince you that we alone know best. We squandered our resources and placed our faith in artificial constructs such as wealth, celebrity, and power. We turned the world into a sort of escape room. Firmly believing that winning means making someone else lose, we promptly divided ourselves into teams, found one piece of the puzzle apiece, and hid ourselves in the farthest corners to scream at each other from the darkness. Your generation must do better. You must piece together the clues and find a way out for everyone together. It won't be easy. You'll have to rip the mask from the individuals who want you to believe success can only be gained by vanquishing everyone else. Reveal that they aren't the gods, demigods, or demons that they wanted you to believe they were, and find the courage to fight the battles that, though challenging, lead to success for us all, instead of the petty squabbles that, though satisfying in their own callow way, divide us even more. Make the changes needed so that the divisive forces in our society are left with nothing to say but we'd have gotten away with it too if it hadn't been for those darn kids. I've got a confession to make. Teaching is such an unusual career. We spend our entire lives building relationships with children, thrilling with every goal they reach, and suffering each time they fall short. After all of that, we send them out on the world on their own. It's emotionally exhausting. 4 years ago, when I interviewed with Mrs. Beeman and Mrs. Peters about this job, I was just looking for a way to supplement my state check until I could retire for good. I knew that after 3 decades of teaching English, the curriculum would be a breeze. I thought that the key would be to keep a strict 8 to 3 mentality about the children. No emotional attachment this time around. It was a good plan. But then I met these children. These exasperating, happy, cute, talented, sweet, funny, brilliant, goofy children. Mrs. Peters, I guess what I'm trying to say is I wanted this job to be just that, a job. I wanted Greenfield to be a place to put in my 8 hours and leave without the emotional toll of the losses when it was time to let children go. You know what? I'd have gotten away with it too if it hadn't been for these kids. Class of 2020, congratulations. Now, go earn those Scooby snacks.
Mrs. Peters and the faculty are honored to present the Sterling Knight Award to Kaylin Ray Wall. Greenfield School Class of 2020 and the newest alumni of Greenfield School. Seniors, please move your tablets.
Graduated, Trey.
Hey, come on, guys. Come on.
I made it.